It started with a single digital key, a hidden string of code lost in the blockchain for 6 years. Until one cold morning in New York, the FBI uncovered what the world had been chasing, the secret behind a $4.5 billion crypto heist, and the couple no one ever suspected. This is the story of Heather Morgan Razzlekhan and Ilya Lichtenstein, the so-called crocodile of Wall Street. Don't forget to follow our channel for more true crime stories from the digital underworld.
Support the truth. Don't look away.
They looked like any other tech couple in downtown Manhattan hoodies, iced coffee laptops glowing in the corner of a WeWork space. But on a freezing morning in February 2022, FBI agents surrounded their luxury apartment on Wall Street. Within minutes, Heather Morgan, the quirky YouTube rapper who called herself Razzlekhan, the crocodile of Wall Street, was face down on the floor, wrists bound in plastic cuffs. Her husband, Ilya Lichtenstein, stood silent, eyes wide behind his glasses, as agents cracked open his laptop and found what the world had been chasing for 6 years. The keys to a digital fortune, worth $4.5 billion. Downstairs, the street pulsed with sirens and camera flashes. Upstairs, agents sifted through hard drives, gold coins, burner phones, and a small bag of USB sticks, each holding a piece of the most valuable digital loot ever recovered. The couple's cat meowed in confusion as Heather tried to keep her composure, whispering, "You don't understand, it's not what you think." But the evidence said otherwise. The wallets tied to the 2016 Bitfinex, hack one of the largest crypto heists in history, were right there, mapped out in spreadsheets, hidden behind encrypted folders named Photo Backup. The FBI had just arrested the woman who once rapped about hacking the planet, and her husband, the quiet programmer who actually did it. How did a self-proclaimed entrepreneur and an eccentric rapper end up at the center of the biggest Bitcoin laundering case the world had ever seen? To understand how the world's strangest crypto crime began, you have to step back long before the $4.5 billion headlines, before the FBI raid, before Razzlekhan started rapping about money and chaos. Ilya Lichtenstein was born in Russia in 1989 and raised in Illinois. A quiet prodigy, he spent his teenage years glued to computer screens, exploring the early internet's gray zones, coding scripts, testing firewalls, trading crypto, long before it was cool. Friends from his university days described him as the guy who could make anything disappear online. By his late 22s, he had moved to New York, blending into the city's booming tech startup scene, working late in co-working basements, freelancing for data startups, and teaching himself how to hide code in plain sight. Heather Morgan was his opposite in every visible way: loud, eccentric, obsessed with personal branding. Born in Oregon, she studied economics, then moved to New York chasing the startup dream. By day, she wrote articles for Forbes about entrepreneurship and cybersecurity. By night, she performed bizarre rap videos on YouTube under the alias Razzlekhan. Gold jackets, snake metaphors, self-made lyrics. She called herself the crocodile of Wall Street. It was satire to some, a warning to others. The two met at a networking event in 2013. Lichtenstein, introverted but brilliant, was instantly drawn to her manic energy. They started dating, then collaborating. She handled marketing. He built back-end systems for clients in crypto and e-commerce. To outsiders, they were an odd but lovable couple, the quiet coder and the loud creative. But inside that partnership, something else was forming: a mutual fascination with the shadow side of technology. They talked about privacy, surveillance, and power. Heather wrote essays about hustling smarter, while Ilya buried himself in encryption and blockchain anonymity tools. By 2016, Bitcoin had exploded into the mainstream. Exchanges like Bitfinex, based in Hong Kong, were processing billions of dollars every week, yet most still relied on early security models. Lichtenstein understood those systems better than anyone, and on one humid August night that year, someone exploited a flaw in Bitfinex's multi-signature wallet protocol. Over 119,754 Bitcoin vanished into the blockchain ether, traced to a single digital fingerprint that would haunt the crypto world for years. No one knew who did it. No one except maybe a young man who had quietly begun encrypting his digital life, and the woman who would one day call herself his partner in every hustle. In the same week, Bitfinex froze its systems. Ilya quietly began moving his own crypto holdings into new cold wallet addresses, a move no one noticed until years later. For years, the Bitfinex hack was a ghost story told in crypto forums, a cautionary legend about the dangers of trusting digital banks. Investigators could see the stolen Bitcoin sitting in wallets on the blockchain, yet the trail always went cold. Whoever did it hadn't tried to cash out immediately. They were patient, too patient. Inside the U.S. Department of Justice's Cybercrime Division, analysts began mapping transaction patterns. Every few months, small fragments of the stolen Bitcoin moved sometimes only a few $1,000s worth through mixers, darknet exchanges, and fake identity accounts. Each move seemed random, but behind the chaos was method. The thief wasn't spending, he was laundering in slow motion. In 2019, blockchain forensics firm Chainalysis made a breakthrough. Using advanced clustering algorithms, they noticed that dozens of laundering wallets funneled funds into the same exchange accounts, and those accounts were linked to gift cards purchased on Walmart and several online marketplaces. When investigators subpoenaed those companies, one name kept appearing on the redemption logs: Heather Morgan. But when agents pulled surveillance footage from a Manhattan electronics store, they saw Heather herself redeeming the cards, smiling at the cashier, unaware that the security camera had just captured the missing link. It was the first visual proof tying the couple to the laundering chain. At first, the FBI thought it was identity theft. Morgan was a Forbes contributor, not a hacker, but then they found that the accounts used her real phone number. Around the same time, agents discovered Heather Morgan operated a content marketing company named Salesfolk LLC, while her husband Ilya Lichtenstein previously founded a data startup called MixRank. Both businesses later appeared in blockchain transactions linked to the laundering trail, which processed unexplained crypto payments. That was when they started watching them. For months, agents tailed the couple in New York. They lived in a luxury apartment near Wall Street, took vacations to Ukraine and Asia, and bragged online about building empires. Heather posted motivational videos about entrepreneurship, wearing gold jackets, and rapping about making money without rules. The irony wasn't lost on the agents watching from unmarked cars below. Then came the encrypted file. Hidden inside Lichtenstein's cloud storage, an encrypted cloud folder containing a spreadsheet of more than 2,000 wallet addresses was discovered was an unexpected payload. A spreadsheet of over 2,000 cryptocurrency wallet addresses linked directly to the Bitfinex hack. Alongside each entry sat a private key, the digital equivalent of a fingerprint. That discovery changed everything. On the 8th of February 2022, FBI agents executed simultaneous warrants. They entered the couple's apartment at dawn. Lichtenstein barely had time to close his laptop. One agent lunged and seized it before the encryption could lock. What they found inside confirmed 6 years of suspicion: transaction records, laundering scripts, and conversion pathways to gold and NFTs. Within hours, the Justice Department held a press conference. Deputy Attorney General Lisa O. Monaco stood before the cameras and said, "Today's arrests, and the department's largest financial seizure ever, show that cryptocurrency is not a safe haven for criminals." According to the U.S. Department of Justice press release and Reuters coverage on the 8th of February 2022, agents recovered 94,643 Bitcoin, worth about $3.6 billion, marking the largest financial seizure ever recorded by the Department of Justice. Reporters were stunned not only by the amount over $3.6 billion recovered, but by who was behind it: a self-proclaimed rapper who called herself the Crocodile of Wall Street. As their mugshots hit every major news outlet, one question lingered: had they truly hacked Bitfinex, or had they simply found a way to clean someone else's loot? The federal courthouse in Washington, D.C. was silent when the guards escorted Ilya Lichtenstein and Heather Morgan into the courtroom. It was August 2023, more than a year after their dramatic arrest, and the couple who once flaunted ambition and gold chains now faced the cold fluorescent light of justice. The prosecution's case was methodical, built on digital forensics rather than drama. They displayed blockchain charts on giant monitors, tracing lines of orange from the original Bitfinex wallets to the accounts controlled by Lichtenstein. Every arrow, every transaction, was another nail in the digital coffin. Mr. Lichtenstein didn't just launder money, the prosecutor said. He owned the money. Defense lawyers argued otherwise. They painted a picture of two eccentric entrepreneurs, caught in a misunderstanding that they'd stumbled upon the keys years later and were trying to safeguard the funds. But the jury's eyes kept returning to the evidence: those 2,000 private keys, the encryption scripts, and the long trail of false identities. Heather sat still beside her husband, the same woman who once performed YouTube raps about hacking the system. Now, her lyrics played in court as evidence, her voice echoing off the walls. "I'm the crocodile of Wall Street, breaking barriers, spitting fire." The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Investigators from the FBI's cyber unit testified about the moment they cracked his cloud storage, describing how they decrypted the file that led straight to the stolen Bitcoin. One agent admitted, "It was the cleanest evidence I've ever seen, like finding the stolen goods still in the trunk." By mid-trial, it was clear the couple's fate was sealed. Facing overwhelming evidence and billions in digital proof, Lichtenstein and Morgan accepted plea deals in 2023. In his statement, Lichtenstein confessed to orchestrating the original Bitfinex hack in 2016, exploiting a vulnerability in the exchange's multi-signature security. Morgan admitted she had knowingly helped him launder the proceeds through mixers, shell companies, and crypto gift cards. When sentencing came in August 2024, the courtroom was heavy with silence. Lichtenstein, dressed in gray prison fatigues, looked thinner, his once confident stare dimmed. The judge described his crime as a modern act of grand larceny, one that tested the limits of global finance. He was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. Heather Morgan, who had cooperated with investigators and helped recover much of the stolen Bitcoin, received 18 months. She cried softly as the judge spoke, whispering a quiet thank you before being led away. Reporters outside described it as the strangest love story in crypto history, a tale of ambition, greed, and the illusion of digital invincibility. When the cell doors closed behind them, the myth of Razzlekhan and Dutch finally unraveled. The internet that once amplified their ambition now replayed their downfall in endless loops. Snippets of Heather's bizarre rap videos layered over news footage of the FBI raid, memes calling her the Bitcoin Bonnie, and threads dissecting Ilya's every code line like scripture. But behind the headlines, something remarkable had happened. The US government recovered 94,643 Bitcoin, worth over $3.6 billion, marking the largest financial seizure in history. It was a symbolic victory, not just for law enforcement, but for the fragile credibility of the cryptocurrency world. The message was clear: blockchain may promise anonymity, but it never forgets. Heather Morgan served her sentence quietly. No music videos, no gold jackets, just therapy sessions, writing classes, and letters to friends about wanting to start over. When she was released, her former social media accounts were long deleted, her Forbes articles wiped. Occasionally, someone spotted her name in small business circles, using aliases, trying to rebuild a life in silence. Ilya Lichtenstein, the so-called digital ghost, began cooperating with cyber investigators while still behind bars, helping decrypt remaining wallets and detailing how he pulled off the 2016 breach. It wasn't about money, he reportedly said in one debrief. It was about seeing if I could. For Bitfinex, the scars lingered. The hack accelerated a wave of regulation and forced the industry to strengthen its infrastructure. What began as one man's experiment ended up redefining global crypto policy. Yet the story's strangest legacy wasn't the money, it was the psychology. Here was a couple who had everything modern tech culture worshipped: intelligence, independence, the digital tools to print success out of thin air. But they wanted more to outsmart the system, to feel invincible. When the final court documents were filed, one line stood out from Heather's written statement to the judge. She ended her letter with a line that sounded less like a confession and more like an elegy to ambition, a reminder that brilliance without balance always self-destructs. We thought we were building a new kind of freedom. Instead, we built our own prison. And somewhere deep inside, the blockchain, immutable, silent, endless, their fingerprints remain, proof that even in a world built on math, the human heart still writes its own code for greed.
Support the truth. Don't look away.